Hello everyone, it's me again. Today I will recap the movie Avatar 2, The Way of Water. This girl is the only one of the Na'vi tribe who has the power to control living creatures. She is the adopted daughter of Jake and Neytiri. Colonel Quaritch has also been revived, showing that the war between the heavens and the earth on the planet Pandora is inevitable. Jake and Neytiri's family must face new challenges and protect their homeland from outside threats. Will they can overcome this fate? Please join me in watching today's recap. After the battle to repel the invasion from people of Earth, most of the invaders were destroyed. The surviving soldiers were all returned to their homeland, but there were also a few scientists who chose to stay here. 16 years later, Jake has a small family with Neytiri, including 2 sons, Netayam and Loak, and a daughter, Tuk. In addition, they also adopted a little girl, Kiri, and Spider, a human child, born on Pandora, right at the end of the war. Because he was too young, he could not be sent back to Earth. And Jake also took on the role of the patriarch of the Omaticaya clan, working with scientists to protect this land. Speaking of Spider, his father was an enemy of the Na'vi, so his presence was not very welcome. However, Spider always tried to integrate, learn the way of life of the people here, and considered Pandora as his home. Finally, he was recognized by Jake's children. It seemed that everyone's life here became peaceful and happy. But the precious peace did not last long. One day, strange machines appeared in the sky. It was the return of the humans, along with the most advanced robotic and armed forces, led by General Ardmore. They wanted to invade Pandora once again, as the Earth was dying. The machines landed, with 1,000 °C spark, burning a large area of the forest, causing many creatures to die in pain. Perhaps the thing that Neytiri regretted the most at this moment was not slaughtering all those evil humans. Among those sent here, all were revived with recombination technology, with the appearance of Na'vi, but carrying the memories of the humans who died in the battle. Colonel Quaritch was also among them. He acted as the leader of this group, specially sent to eliminate the couple of the tribe leader Jake. On this side, with the responsibility of a tribe leader, Jake immediately led a guerrilla campaign against the humans, aiming to destroy the cargo train and steal their weapons. Very quickly, they detonated a bomb that threw the train off the tracks. Jake attacked, shooting down the patrol planes around. The eldest brother, Netayam, was proficient in combat skills. Instead of being careful and obedient like his elder brother, Loak was extremely impulsive. Ignoring his army's strategy, he chose to fly low to cause trouble. Jake stood watching and saw his 2 sons. So who was guarding up there? In the end, they were suddenly attacked by humans, unable to react in time, so they were all shot. Many of the tribe's warriors lost their lives. Netayam almost lost her life too. Luckily, his father found him and carried him back. When he returned, Jake scolded his 2 sons for acting on their own. After that, to ensure the safety of the tribe, the Neytiri couple chose to move everyone to the dragon's cave. As soon as outsiders set foot here, the dragons would immediately detect them. On this side, the group led by Quaritch had set foot on Pandora. The female General Ardmore showed him the strategic map. She suspected the Na'vi were based on the high islands. She couldn't pinpoint exactly where, as the plane had been attacked by dragons the moment it arrived. Quaritch found the battlefield, where he had been shot by Neytiri's arrow, leaving only his skull. Quaritch picked it up and crushed it in anger. On this side, Jake's children were playing innocently in the Pandora forest. Suddenly, they saw a large footprint on the ground. Then, Jake's children saw everything. They quickly contacted their father. Jake ordered the group to be quiet and return immediately, but before they could go far, they were captured. Quaritch observed and discovered that the children had 5 fingers, while the Na'vi only had 4. He quickly realized that this was Jake's child. The human boy also looked familiar. Quaritch immediately recognized that he was his son, but did not say anything. He called the ship to pick them up, to take the children hostage. Fortunately, a solar eclipse suddenly occurred at this time, so the ship could not land on Pandora, just in time for Neytiri's family to fly over. Jake left his eldest son behind to watch, while he and his wife went inside to find the children. When they arrived, the 2 saw that their children were being held hostage. She signaled her son to move aside. Then, she raised her bow and shot a soldier. They immediately returned fire fiercely. In the chaos, the children rose up, bit the bad guys' hands, pulled the pins of their smoke bombs, and ran away. Quaritch saw that the situation was unfavorable and used a provocation tactic. Neytiri spoke angrily, revealing her position. He signaled his men to sneak attack from behind. Then they concentrated their fire on her. One of them aimed at Neytiri, But with her agility, she dodged the bullet and shot him dead. The whole family was now out of their sights, but unexpectedly, Spider accidentally slipped and fell while running. Quaritch immediately caught up with him, then swung the rope back to the airship. Although Jake's family wanted to save the boy, they could only watch helplessly. Returning, Jake told his wife to take the child and hide. But she did not agree, because their mission was to protect the Na'vi tribe. He tried to convince his wife that the humans' goal was their family. If they stayed here, it would endanger everyone. Finally, Neytiri agreed with her husband. Jake handed over the position of clan leader to someone else, then left with his family. In another development, after returning to the spaceship, Spider was captured in a machine to be tortured for information about Jake's family. Despite the pain and nosebleeds, Spider still refused to reveal anything. Seeing the level of torture gradually increase, as a father, Quaritch finally could not bear it anymore, and stood up to stop it. He suggested using feelings to lure Spider to their side. When there were only 2 people left, Quaritch told Spider the truth, that he was his biological father, and hoped that Spider would cooperate to reveal the location of Jake's family. Gradually, he persuaded the boy to teach him the Na'vi language, and learn to ride a dragon, to make it easier to approach the people here. Seeing him using a gun to shoot sleeping pills, the boy smiled and said, "A Na'vi child can ride a dragon, let alone adults." Faced with this challenge, he showed his ability by riding the dragon straight down the cliff. It seemed like he was in trouble, but he turned the situation around and rode the dragon up. He also told his juniors to try riding a dragon like him. Meanwhile, Neytiri's small family rode a dragon across the ocean, and finally chose to stop at another Na'vi race, the Metkayina water tribe. The couple asked the Tonawari patriarch for permission to stay here, to avoid being pursued by enemies. The first time they saw the Na'vi living in the forest, the people here were extremely curious. The Tonawari children were scrutinizing everybody, and then speaking contemptuously when they saw the Omatikaya's slender bodies and skinny tails. Tonawari seemed unwilling to take on this trouble, but his wife Ronal agreed. Therefore, they sent their 2 children to be guides for the Jake family, teaching them how to live under the sea. While the younger sister Tsireya was very kind, teaching everyone with all her heart, Aonung still considered the Jake family to be aliens because of their 5-fingered hands. The Neytiri children were suddenly forced to live in a strange environment with people who did not like them, and they could not accept it for a while. But they had no other choice, so the whole family worked hard to learn how to survive. First was diving. While everyone was a bit bewildered, Kiri easily adapted to everything, and even seemed to enjoy it. Loak was infatuated with Tonawari's daughter, and began to show off for her. He connected with the mount here, but was quickly pulled off and almost dislocated his jaw. And Jake learned to ride a winged crocodile. This species was extremely difficult to tame, and it tried to throw Jake off its back. He had to tie his hands to it. Even so, it was easy to handle when it flew, but when it entered the water, Jake had to give up. Thanks to her natural talent, Kiri was able to follow Ronal, learn to control the glowing creatures, and perform up to expectations. She connected with them without any problems. The Neytiri family quickly adapted to the new environment, but the children, led by Aonung, played tricks on Kiri. Seeing this, her 2 older brothers immediately ran to protect their younger sister. Just as they were about to leave, the Aonung kids teased them again, and Loak didn't let it go, punching he until his nose bled. Then the whole group got into a fight. In the afternoon, the whole group returned home with swollen faces. Jake questioned them, and found out that the 2 kids had touched someone they shouldn't have, so he told them to apologize to Tonawari's children. Later, Loak went to apologize to Aonung. On the surface, Aonung agreed to let the past go, but behind his back, he had a dark plot for revenge. He invited Loak to go out to hunt corals and fish to prove he was a man, even though he knew it was a dangerous place. When they got there, they lured Loak into diving to hunt fish, then quietly left him alone and went back. When Loak discovered this and wanted to return, a giant animal jumped up from below, causing him and Inu to fall down together. It was chasing Inu, when it suddenly turned its head to look at Loak. Frightened, he ran into the coral reefs, but the monster had a big and strong mouth, and could even bite rocks, quickly destroying all the coral. He was scared, and tried to swim deeper inside, but it was no use. Meanwhile, he was suffering from a severe lack of oxygen. Looking around and not seeing the monster, finally unable to bear it anymore, Loak could only swim with all his might to the surface of the sea. But as soon as he poked his head out, the monster rushed towards him. He pulled out his knife and risked his life, but suddenly another monster appeared. It was several times bigger than the previous one. The first monster crashed into the cliff and died instantly. But by this time, Loak was also out of breath, and he gradually sank into the sea. When he woke up, he found himself still alive. The monster had saved him. To thank it, he helped remove the spear stuck in its fin. This act of mutual help brought them closer. They quickly became friends and went sightseeing all over the seabed. Meanwhile, Jake was at home confiding in Kiri. She told her father that she felt lost in this world and that she always heard the voice of the great spirit tree. At this time, he received news that Loak was missing. Worried, he asked the villagers to look for his son. After hanging out with his new friend all day, Loak saw his father searching everywhere, so he told Payakan to temporarily hide, and he returned. When Tonowari learned that his son had almost killed Loak, he was very angry, scolded him, and forced Aonung to apologize to Loak. But Loak took the initiative to take the blame. Seeing this, Jake also scolded his son. Loak angrily went out, but after this incident, Aonung was grateful and took the initiative to make peace with him. While sitting and talking, Loak told everyone about his new friend. Unexpectedly, the Tonowari brothers revealed that it was Payakan, a Tulkun, who had been banished. This species was originally pacifist, but Payakan had broken the rules and killed many people, leading to its abandonment by its own kind. They also said that Payakan was bad and advised Loak not to associate with it. Disagreeing with what they said about his new friend, Loak angrily left to find Payakan and learn the truth. The children and Kiri went to find the Metkayina spirit tree. The best time to dive down was during the eclipse. Kiri connected with the spirit tree and met her mother again. She asked about her father, who had never appeared, but before she could hear the answer, Kiri suddenly had a violent seizure. Everyone was scared, so they disconnected and quickly brought her back to the village for treatment. Seeing his daughter's dangerous condition, Jake immediately called for help from 2 doctors from the Omaticaya tribe. They used many modern pieces of equipment, but it was still ineffective, so they concluded that she had epilepsy. They requested that she not connect to the spirit tree anymore. At this time, Ronald also arrived and angrily chased them out. She used her acupuncture ability to heal Kiri. Fortunately, Kiri woke up. However, when Jake contacted his tribe, he was accidentally discovered by the Quaritch group. Guessing that Jake was hiding with the underwater tribe, Quaritch went directly to the battle, heading to the offshore islands to track down his whereabouts. During that process, he also commandeered Tulkun hunting ship. Although the captain did not like it, he was powerless to stop his commander. At this time, the Tulkun herd, after a long migration, returned to the village where Jake's family was hiding. The whales were considered soulmates of the undersea tribe, so everyone was happy and went to the sea to visit them. The leader of the Tulkun was Ronald's best friend. It even showed off his little son beside him. Ronald praised the leader whale for being very smart. Meanwhile, Payakan showed Loak his memories. Payakan opened his mouth wide, and Loak swam inside as the whale closed his mouth. Inside his belly was a whole starry sky. Payakan accepted the boy's connection with him, and his memories revealed that humans had massacred its family. In retaliation, he led a group to attack them. Unexpectedly, he was defeated by the cruel humans. All his kind were sacrificed, and only he survived the massacre, but he lost a fin. Upon returning, he was accused by his own clan of murdering his kind. The incident of Loak associating with the Payakan made the Tonowari couple extremely angry. The children were criticized by their parents, but Loak still did not want to abandon his friend. Not knowing Jake's exact location, Quaritch attacked any village he came across, setting fire and killing people everywhere. Very quickly, he swept through many villages. Spider saw the cruelty of humans and was extremely dissatisfied. This news of death quickly spread to other villages and soon reached the people of Metkayina, but the Tonowari couple still decided to protect Jake's family. Not stopping there, to lure Jake out, Quaritch also commanded a hunting ship to hunt Tulkuns, massacring these whales to make Jake come out. Coincidentally, the captured creature was the Tonowari couple's best friend. They shot the locator at the Tulkun so that they could not hide, then used buoys to slow down their swimming speed. Seeing the Tulkun mother and son diving, the villain shot an ultrasonic bomb, forcing them to float to the surface, and finally fired an explosive warhead, killing the Tulkun mother and son. Unexpectedly, humans hunted and finished off this giant creature just for a few compounds extracted from their brains that could slow down the aging process, and their flesh was thrown away. Normally, after getting the liquid tube, these people would sink the body of they to the bottom of the sea to cover up the clues, but this time, Quaritch deliberately kept the scene intact to let the people know about the incident. The Metkayina people arrived. Seeing the tragic death of their friends, Ronald burst into tears of anger. They summoned the people, determined to fight those bastards. But Jake stood up to stop everyone. He knew this was Quaritch's trick, to lure the snake out of the cave. If they did, they would fall into his trap, and the humans had some very formidable killing machines. They should now inform the hidden Tulkins and remove remaining tracking devices. After some consideration, Tonawari agreed to his plan. At this time, Loak was also worried about Payakan, and decided to go out to sea to warn his friend. There was no other way. The children chased after him. They found Payakan, but it has tracking devices. He quickly pulled it out, but it was stuck too tightly. All the children couldn't do anything either. Meanwhile, the Quaritch warship had set sail. The children decided to call Jake for help. He and everyone, including the pregnant Ronald, rushed out to sea to save the children. Very quickly, the whole tribe gathered, determined to fight to the end with the evil humans. Offshore, Netayam finally succeeded in removing the positioning device from the Tulkin. They came up with a plan, using it to distract the humans. Quaritch had seen the Jake's children from afar. He immediately ordered them to be taken hostage. While fleeing, the children temporarily hid under giant seaweed leaves. Quaritch released robotic crabs to hunt down the children. Sireya's Inu was shot down. Loak returned to save her, but both of them and Tuk were eventually caught in their nets. Quaritch used the 3 children as hostages. Jake and Tonawari led the group to the island to save the 3 brothers. With a precious hostage, Quaritch asked Jake to come to him alone. With no other choice, Jake listened to him, but before he arrived, a giant animal appeared under the sea. It was Payakan. It jumped out of the water and lowered itself onto the deck, causing the group to quickly find a place to escape. With its thick layer of fat, no matter how they shot, it would not be injured. The hunter immediately turned the ship around, aiming straight at Payakan and shooting, but it easy to dodge the spear. Then, it jumped into the sea. It slammed its tail on the ship, causing everything to shatter. The humans stampede. Taking advantage of the victory, everyone rushed to fight the bad guys. Quaritch and the whale hunters quickly regained their composure. They planned to organize a solid defense. Ronald quickly shot an arrow to kill the hunter. Neytiri rode a dragon from above, shooting through the cockpit and bringing down the helicopters. The human army's formation was quickly broken. Jake saw that the evil people were still very stubborn, so he opened fire, blowing up several small ships outside. Under the sea, Kiri used his ability to connect with creatures, pulling Quaritch's soldiers' legs and drowning them. Inside the ship at this time, Spider could not bear the cruelty of humans. He stole a fire extinguisher and gave the operators several heavy blows. The ship had no pilot and immediately crashed into the reef. Spider also took the opportunity to smash the enemy's control system. Outside, Quaritch rode his dragon with a gun and chased Jake, continuously shooting at him. Jake quickly dodged the bullets, then dove into the water, then suddenly emerged and attacked him. His dragon was in pain and sent him flying. Meanwhile, the hunters continued their work. They shot cables at Payakan, but were pulled around and tied up by it. The hunter on the ship was also the culprit who killed its family. Payakan finally killed them all, successfully resolving the old grudge. On this side, Netium and Sireya sneaked onto the ship and quickly untied the ropes to save Loak's group. After being freed, Loak refused to return with his brother, and instead, he took a gun, demanding to find Spider. Quaritch also returned at this time and caught Kiri underwater. Seeing this, Tuk turned back to save her sister, only to be caught as well. Inside, the 2 brothers, Netayam and Loak, had saved Spider, but could not avoid a gunfight with the soldiers. Finally, the group jumped into the sea. Sireya rode an Inu to help in time. Only then did everyone discover that Netayam had been shot, a fatal wound. He only had time to say, "I want to go home." This one sentence broke Jake and Neytiri's hearts into pieces. Who would want to leave their homeland? Neytiri screamed for her son to wake up, as the whole family watched him take his last breath in her arms, painfully. At that time, Quaritch also called, asking Jake to exchange his life for his 2 beloved daughters. The pain of losing a child is indescribable. Neytiri immediately rode a flying dragon to collect the blood debt. Jake also quickly brought Spider with him. The boy had been there before, so he knew the ins and outs of the ship, and helped Jake a lot, assisting him in finding the place where his 2 daughters were being held. He used a bomb to blow up one side of the ship. Then, Neytiri jumped down from the Banshee's back, quickly taking down many enemies. Meanwhile, Jake also used an axe to strike them repeatedly. Quaritch defended the 2 children, using his gun to return fire, but could not harm Jake and his wife. Soon, Quaritch's gun ran out of bullets, as did Jake's. Neytiri immediately drew her bow, wanting to avenge her son. Quaritch quickly hid behind a wall, causing his teammate to die instead. That was also the last arrow of the mother who had just lost her child. She growled. Then she used her bow to fight the humans, causing it to break in half. Filled with pain and resentment, Neytiri let out terrifying screams, causing Spider, who was hiding nearby, not to dare make a sound. Upstairs, Jake had also saved his youngest daughter, but Kiri was cowardly held by Quaritch, with a knife to her neck, demanding that Jake surrender his weapon. Neytiri saw this, quickly grabbed Spider by the neck, and brought the boy to talk to Quaritch. At this moment, resentment had taken over her. She could only rely on her instincts, doing everything to save her family. Quaritch acted as if he was fine, denying his father-son relationship with Spider. But when Neytiri slashed her son's chest, he raised his hands in surrender. Jake told his wife to take the children back first, and he would stay behind to fight Quaritch to the death. The two of them started fighting fiercely, not caring that the ship had started to sink. Neytiri's group was also blocked by the fire, unable to move. They ran up, but Tuck was swept down into the hold. Her mother could only jump down to follow her and find a way up. But the water pressure was too strong, and Neytiri could not open the door from the outside. Despite the ship sinking rapidly, the two men still refused to let go. Jake was almost suffocated by Quaritch. But luckily, the shock from the ship seemed to turn the situation around. He squeezed Quaritch's neck so tightly that the villain stopped moving. Jake immediately swam inside to save his wife and children, but he was exhausted and passed out. Above, Loak and Payakan also chased after them. Together with Spider, they swam to rescue everyone. He found his father short of breath and pulled him up to the surface. Seeing that Self was too weak, Jake told his son to save himself, but Loak refused. Losing a loved one was already the most expensive lesson for him. Inside, Kiri also used her ability to connect with creatures, found her mother and sister, helped them escape. The whole family finally overcame all dangers and reunited. While searching, Spider saw his evil father again. No matter what, he was still his biological father. Moreover, in the moment of life and death, Quaritch chose to save his son. Spider could not abandon Quaritch, so he pulled his father to shore. Quaritch wanted he to come back with him, but the kind Spider did not want to help them do evil, so he chose to follow the Na'vi. He returned to Jake's family. Meanwhile, Payakan came to pick up Loax and everybody. The whole family was happy to have escaped disaster. Jake also regarded Spider as his own son. After the war, everyone held a solemn funeral for their good and talented son, Nitium. Neytiri and Jake were extremely sad, and everyone could not help but shed tears of regret. Their son had returned to their ancestors. The Yomatakaya family also decided to leave this place, to avoid bringing disaster to the Metkaina clan, but Tonowari accepted them as part of his clan, and welcomed Jake's family to stay. Jake and his family happily agreed, deciding to remain and build a new life by the sea. Jake and Neytiri saw their beloved son for the last time, their tears flowing in their hearts. Perhaps this would be the last time they saw each other. The movie ends here. Thank you very much for your support, which has allowed the channel to develop as it has today. If you find it interesting, please give me a like, and leave a comment about this movie. Especially please subscribe to the channel to follow my movie recap. See you again, my dear friends.